So not too long ago, we put a post out about Cook Like a Pirate. Invited you to like or follow or subscribe to YouTube and Facebook and a couple of the other social media outlets. And you're probably wondering what it is. Well, we thought we'd come on here tonight and tell you about it. Well, one of the things that you always see me in is my red chef coat, which I love red. My Trans Am I had as a teenager, my 78 Trans Am was red, and red is my favorite color. But that's not really what I wear all days at work, and I'm sure you understand that. So in this podcast or show or whatever you want to call this, then we're gonna deal in reality. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming our way and what you'll be able to see and witness. Our country and world is so divided, and everybody is on one side of an issue or another, and there's all these things that go on. The one thing I think everyone can agree upon is great food. And great food comes from great cooks. And so we're going to go out and approach it a little bit differently. You have people who are with television shows, and we see those shows on TV and we see all these chefs. But the majority of Americans, millions and millions of people, are fed every day from line cooks. And so we're going to talk about line cooks. One thing I want to tell you is that in this show, we're in search of the human beings who wear shoes that look like this. And you'll get introduced to them, where it's flapping, it's held together by duct tape, it's tore out. So you're going to meet some of the human beings who will wear those. Now, I own my own restaurant, and with my wife, and I better get her in there. I work the line every day, and these are what my shoes look like. As you can see, they're floured up and covered up in flour because I work the fry station every day. Even though I do own my own restaurant, I work the line every day. It's what I enjoy. It's what I love. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to bring a show to you, a podcast that comes from that perspective. And so we wanted to really delve into that world and show you something a little bit different. So what I wanted to talk about started a long time ago. I've been in the restaurant business for over 40 years. And so I had to make a decision when I moved to Clarksville about the direction that I wanted to go. I went to work construction for a time after high school with a buddy of mine, Troy, and his father. And Mr. Reed, I just loved that man. And what I loved most about working there was watching him chase Troy around when Troy would make a mistake. And when I got to Clarksville, I started working back into the restaurants, and I knew I had found my love again. But I also enjoyed the construction work. So I called Mr. Reed one night and I talked to him. And I was trying to make a decision to where to go in my life, because there was two things I was enjoying. And this is the advice that he gave me. And he said, you know, I can't tell you what direction to make, but here's what I can tell you, Perry, is that people buy 1 to 2 homes. If they're lucky, maybe 3. Maybe they got 2 homes. But people eat 3 times a day. And in the food business, you'll always have work. Well, I've been in it over 40 years now, and I've never missed a paycheck. So I fed so many folks all across the city, across the state, and across the world from being in Iraq. So it's something that I've done for over 40 years that I really enjoy. So not too long after the conversation with Mr. Reed, I was working the line, and there was a commercial for a college. And they said, well, who wants to flip burgers for the rest of their life? Who wants a job like that? Something along those lines. Man, it made me mad. And because I did, that's what I was in love with. And it really kind of started me down a path all those years ago, just being angry and being a defender of what we do every day. So I think that sometimes the line cook and sometimes the people that we don't think of that job as being that important. But millions of people go out to eat all the time, and these are the people that serve them and cook for them. And I want to do a show about those guys who heard those commercials, who've seen that same type of attitude about what they do and what they love. And I think that matters a lot. So that's part of the reason. Then you might ask, well, why the Pirates? Well, so my mother's family was from Bath, North Carolina, and Blackbeard lived there for a while. So pirate lore has been a part of my life my entire life. And so we had an interview for a newspaper one time. And he asked me why I like to do what I do, why I was so passionate about it. And I said, one of the things is that I get to live like a pirate. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, when you go home, we're working. When you're off with your family, when you go out to eat and all things are nice, I'm on a line with a bunch of guys that looks like we're on a pirate ship and we're fighting a battle. And that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the freedom of what that was. I enjoyed what it was like to be on the line. To this day, today I walked off the line. I worked the fry station the entire day. That is exactly what I do. And that's what I love. And I want to show those people. I want to show the perspective from the industry that we work in, from a line cook's perspective. So I think this podcast, this show, will go into that lifestyle. But there's also the home pirate. And that's why when you see our logo, it says unity and purpose. The people at home, the guys at home that are working at home to do the same thing, whether they're cooking out on their grills or they're making things in their home, the ladies that work all day to make something special, there's a unity and purpose. We go to work every day to make great food, to feed people, and we want to see them smile. We want them excited about what we prepared. Well, the cook at home is the same thing, and that's where our unity and purpose is there. And so this show will have the same type of focus. And what it will focus on is making great food. We will focus on shoes, great shoes that you could wear. You can, and we'll talk about my search through the shoes and exactly how hard that is. And so we'll do some comparison there. We'll talk about many different things, tricks of the trade, tricks that we've learned in the restaurant, maybe tricks that you've learned at home. We'll talk about all sorts of things that deal with cooking food from a line cook perspective and from the home cook. And that's where the unity and purpose comes from. That's where we can learn from each other. I'm also going to have the Health Man Minute, or the health professional, whatever you prefer, where we talk about food safety. Because food safety is very important in the restaurant. It's something that we focus on all the time. But do people at home who are feeding their families, do they really sometimes understand the importance of food safety? Do they understand the temperatures? Do they understand some of the sanitation? We'll bring some of that perspective. So there's a lot of different things that, whether you're a cook in the restaurant industry, a line cook like so many of us, and find this interesting, or whether you're at home and want to see another aspect to this world that we live in, which is more like a pirate ship than it is a restaurant. And so I think between those two, we can pull those together. Now, there's a couple things in the restaurant. One of those that is most important is, hold on for a second, is music, the playlist. And yes, these are EP glasses from Graceland. So the playlist in the restaurant is very important, and it's gone over a lot of changes. So we're going to develop a playlist, me and you, where we talk about the music that we want to hear in the restaurant. Now, I do have a special note, a special story for you. So this CD right here, yes, the Jackal CD that I have in my hands. Me and a friend of mine worked in a restaurant when it came out, and Frank had a cassette and I had a cassette, and we played it so much that his cassette wore out and busted in the radio, and then so did mine. That entire CD goes on the playlist, but it's kind of like the pro. It's just there, and that's because of my experience. But we want to talk about music. You couldn't believe how much music has played a part in the restaurant every day, every night. From a friend of mine who was who was starting a band, and he brought his guitars and amps to play for us when we closed. And last but not least we will have our very own pirate ship, where we're going to go on the road, and we're going to many different restaurants, local restaurants to start. And we're going to bring our truck that we'll call the pirate ship, and it's going to have a table, and some of me and my closest friends and cooks, we're going to hop on this truck, and it's going to have a table for us. And we're going to go out there, and we're going to get in those restaurants, and we're going to be in the parking lot. We're going to order to-go orders. And then we're going to interview the line cooks who made that food. We don't want to go into the restaurants and bother the guests or bother the regular folks, but we want to be out in the back parking lot with our truck, with special guests, and we're going to go out and try some food. And we're also going to do some interviews with people here locally in Clarksville, and then as we grow beyond, and talk to some of the heroes in this town that have been in the food business for a very long time, some of the people that have been associated with different things, whether it be the beer business or the food business or the supply business, that help restaurants do what they do, that helps people like me, starting out as a 19-year-old working here in Clarksville and growing and learning so much. My mentors that I want to talk to, that I want to introduce you to, and so many other people will want to do the same. I started a long time ago in Hanau, Germany, really Fliegerhorst Concern in Erlandsee, Germany, washing dishes at an NCO club. And I've gone from there washing dishes to today, where I can bring you this story, my story. And then also, I've always wanted to write a movie about my life and the DWB stories. Now, I can't tell you all of them just yet because I have to check on the statute of limitations for some of it. But hopefully we'll be able to tell you enough, and you'll see some of the wild, crazy things. The reason why living like a pirate in the food industry can create such a wild life, but why it can also be a good career. How young folks can find these careers, they can find these jobs, and it's not a negative, it's a positive. You can start like I did from nothing. Never been to school or to college or chef school or any of that, but I worked really, really hard to get where I am today. And I want to share those stories and share those people that I still work with every single day, and how hard they go to work, how the magic happens when we start a shift. And I think you're going to find it absolutely unbelievable. We'll see you in the back parking lot of the restaurants while we're eating to-go orders.